Welcome back to another fantasy fight. This time Wladimir Klitschko goes up against Earnie Shavers. Should be a great matchup. Wladimir stood 6'6", 242 compared to Earnie Shavers 6 foot 210. Wladimir had an 81-inch reach. Shavers had 79-inch reach. Klitschko finished 64-5 over his career. Earnie Shavers 74-14-1. As we look at these two fighters, we're going to look at them at their peak. And it's important to understand that Wladimir Klitschko's peak was from 2005 to 2014. He went 11 years without losing a fight. After Emmanuel Stewart took over control, became his manager after leaving Lennox Lewis after his retirement, Klitschko completely revamped his style, was much more conservative, a better boxer, better conditioned. After 3 early losses in his career to Ross Purity, Corey Sanders, and Lamont Brewster, he went 11 years without a loss. His reign as heavyweight champion was finally ended by Tyson Fury. Then he came back in 2017 and fought Anthony Joshua, which ended his career. Shavers, on the other hand, never won the heavyweight title. He fought Ali in 1977 for the title and Larry Holmes in 78 and 79 and lost both fights. Actually, all 3 fights. Some of his big wins were knockout victories over Jimmy Young, Ken Norton, and Jimmy Ellis. But Shavers was put on the canvas a few times. Knocked out in the first round by Jerry Corey, Ron Lyle in the 6th round, Larry Holmes in the 7th round, and Ron Standard in the 5th round. Should be a great matchup. I'm looking forward to it. Stay tuned. Let's take a look at Earnie Shavers in action. This is against Ron Lyle in 1975. When Shavers was involved in a fight, it never lacked for action. That's a left hook by Shavers. You can see the power. Lyle was a beast, okay? I mean, he was one of the top heavyweights in the 70s. A power puncher, 2 guys going at it. This is one of the top action fights of the 1970s. That was the first round. Now we're going to move to the 5th round. Remember, Lyle's in the red trunk, Shavers in the blue. They have just been beating on each other, and there Lyle gets in a good shot, and now he's going to wail on Shavers, and everything is reversed. When Earnie Shavers was involved in a fight, there was just a lot of action, and you can see Lyle knocks him out in the 5th round. What a fight. What a fight. Now we're going to take a look at Earnie Shavers against Jimmy Ellis in his big fight in 1973 that really put him on the map. Jimmy Ellis won the WBA championship in 1968. He was a bona fide heavyweight. And you can see he's having his way with Earnie Shavers. This, once again, was typical of a Shavers fight. Exciting. It's one of the most exciting, dynamic fighters to ever enter the ring. 1 punch, knockout. That's how quickly he can end a fight. Ellis was beating on him. He comes back. He had the highest knockout ratio of any heavyweight in history for a period of time, back in the 70s, and on the canvas. He could end it very, very quickly. Holmes is going to come back and win the fight. We're going to take a look at Wladimir Klitschko now against Samuel Peter. Peter, probably out of all the opponents that fought Klitschko, had the most similar style to Earnie Shavers, although he outweighed him by about 40 pounds. He was a very big, strong fighter from Nigeria. And this was typical of a Klitschko fight. A lot of wrestling, people trying to get in close against him. He didn't allow you to do that. He was going to fight you most of the time at long distance. He wasn't trying to knock you out. when he did knock you out, it was usually a culmination of punches, much like this. In his younger days, he would try to take you out with one shot. Later, though, that was not the case. Now, this is the first fight against Samuel Peter where he puts Klitschko down twice in the fight, but still loses a decision. And there Klitschko goes down. Now, Klitschko is going to get better as the years go on. Here he is against Povetkin. And Povetkin was one of the top fighters in the world. He was the #1 rated fighter. And you can see he is no match. Klitschko just manhandles people. He's so big and strong. 6'6", 242. This is typical. More physical fighter, really, than his brother. Now we're going to take a look at the comparison chart between Klitschko and Shavers. Hand speed, really no big advantage there. Boxing ability, Klitschko was a much better boxer later in his career. Chin, both of them tasted the canvas quite a few times during their career. Size, Klitschko has a big advantage. Defense, Klitschko is a very good defensive fighter later in his career. Endurance, I'm going to give the advantage to Shavers because of Klitschko running out of gas on several of his opponents earlier in his career. Foot speed, really no advantage. Strength, both of them are very strong. Jab, Klitschko has the advantage there, no question. Cuts, reach, very similar. Body attack, no advantage. Klitschko has a 5-1-7 advantage, which is pretty noticeable. Before I render my decision, please hit the like button and subscribe. Love to hear who you think would win this fight. Both these fighters had somewhat of a questionable chin. I think that you have to keep that into consideration when you're looking at this fight. Earnie Shavers is one of the strongest fighters that ever entered the ring. Against Klitschko, though, he'd be giving up quite a bit of size. Klitschko later in his years, yes, you could get to him like Samuel Peter did, put him down twice in the fight. But I think Klitschko would have his way most of the fight because of his jab, keeping his distance away from him. Klitschko tried to make fights as boring as possible. I think he would probably be successful against Shavers. Remember, he's 6'6" compared to Earnie Shavers, 6 foot. I think that would be the difference. Under Emanuel Stewart's guidance, Klitschko was very cautious. I think he would be very cautious in this fight, staying away, maybe losing a few rounds. But I think overall he would dominate the fight and come away with a 12-round decision. Please hit the comments and let me know what you think. And thanks for watching. Now let's take a look at the brackets. Wladimir Klitschko is going to advance against Earnie Shavers with his 12-round decision. And Klitschko is going to take on the winner of the Kenny Norton-Corey Sanders fight, which is already on YouTube, on the site. These are both first-round matches. Thanks for watching.